half of us are here. Angela's still at home getting ready, but I had to get here for 9 o'clock to get the list to Glennis. So we're excited. We got actually a few hours of sleep last night and we're ready to hit the road.
Always come back for seconds.
To our program. One is getting on the bikes and traveling the world and going to see lots of stuff and meet lots of people and have lots of experiences. But the other part, and the part that is really informing what we're doing, is we're going to be going to orphanages. And we're going to visit orphanages and work with the folks on the ground there to identify little micro projects on site, things that they've probably overlooked or neglected or haven't had time to address. Things that we can do to help improve the safety and the quality of life of the kids. For those of you who were here yesterday, I told the story when I was in Mexico. We put screens on the windows of the cafeteria to keep flies out of the food. We did a brake job on the truck because the rear brakes had worn out and they just jammed a nail in the rear brake line because that was easier than fixing the brakes, right? Repair split water lines, service solar systems, just that sort of stuff. We were able to restore the hot water system at one of the orphanages. And you know, these sorts of things don't take a lot of money. The split water line was $5, the O-ring for the stove 25 cents, the brake job $40. And so the money that you guys have donated through the fundraiser today is going to go a long way to address these small but valuable projects. I will say that we set a goal of raising $5,000 before we left. Why? Pick the number. And I haven't done the math out yet, but by every indication, we will have surpassed that $5,000 mark with your help today. So thank you very much. To add to that, we're working to partner with ADRA International. ADRA is a global non-governmental organization that does development and relief work around the world. And we've been talking with them about visiting their projects to promote the work that they're doing to raise awareness. Because one of the things that ADRA does really, really poorly is marketing. They're too busy doing all these other things, which is fantastic, but they don't spend any time or effort marketing. So the public doesn't really know much about them, but they're often the first ones in after a disaster. They're often there long-term helping to develop and restore. So we want to help promote those projects. We also just happened, if you believe in that sort of thing, to come across the Vice President of Adventist World Radio at a lunch at a friend of ours' house a couple years ago. And we've been in discussion with him about supporting AWR projects. That discussion is still ongoing, but the primary, though not the only effort, is the work with the orphanages. And so as we do that, you're going to see that highlighted on our social media, and we'll shoot some videos to let you know exactly what we've been able to do at those projects. And if they have other things that need to be done, we'll let you know what those things are and how you can help if you want to help the orphanage directly.
But to get there, we have the opportunity, Scott and Stephanie have come out today. For those of you in the motorcycling community, they were with Adrenaline and they're now with Performance Motorcycle Works, a mobile motorcycle repair service. And they brought their bikes out on this cold Sunday morning to ride with us up to the ferry. So that's super exciting. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. After Bellingham, we're going to head south through the US, and we're going to take our time. We've got 2 events lined up, one in California in April, and another one in Arizona in May. And we're going to attend those 2 events as speakers to promote the TWONIE project. Once we finish there, we're going to head into Mexico, go down Baja. We'll be in Mexico around the 1st of June. We're going to do the length of Baja, take the ferry over to Topolobampo, and get as far as Guadalajara. And we're going to stop in Guadalajara for about a month to do an intensive, immersive Spanish language program. Angela and I have both been working on our Spanish as one of the things we've been doing, but being that we've been as busy as we have been, we haven't been able to put as much attention on that as we like. So this will be a month of immersive intensive Spanish to carry us through the next 1.5 to 2 years as we finish off Central and South America. The idea is we'll go down the west side of South America to the bottom to Ushuaia, get there for Christmas of 2024, up the east coast as far as Suriname, and then from Suriname we'll ship the bikes over to Europe somewhere, ride the bikes from there down, cross into Morocco, and loop Africa, and spend 1 year, 2 years looping Africa. So we're already 4 years into the future, so please don't ask what happens after that. Maybe the Middle East, maybe Eastern Europe, who knows, we'll figure that out as we get closer to there. But I see Leonard smiling here, and I know Leonard's smiling because Leonard's family in Tanzania has already extended us an invitation to come and stay with them. And Leonard, your family is just one.
I started my Swahili. Vyombi vyote vya Mungu wetu na mfalme wetu, pazeni sauti.
So, Leonard, your family is just one of many who have extended all sorts of fantastic offers to us, and I really appreciate that. On par with the quality of your offer is the offer from Jose. His brother is one of the top dogs in the Guatemalan police force. And so I'm going to see if I can get him to meet us at the border of Guatemala, get a picture with him, so we don't have to worry about paying any bribes going through Guatemala. We've had so many offers and we really appreciate it. We've met Gohar's mom here from Armenia. She's here with, Gohar just had a baby, so she's here visiting, and she's invited us to visit in Armenia, and we've had so many invitations. We really appreciate it. The problem is, I can't keep track of them all. So what I need for you to do, if you would be so kind, is continue to follow our travels on our Facebook or Instagram accounts. And when we get close to that place you've been talking about, like Nigeria, for example, Levi, remind us and say, hey, I know someone here, or hey, there's this great place over here you've got to go check out. And that way, I'll remember, because you'll remind me. All right, the next question that often gets asked is it safe? Well, we hear this a lot, and this is a very common question. And I'll tell you, we got this question, Angela and I, 3.5 years ago, when we told everybody we were moving to the US. And it was a fair question, because where we lived in Norfolk, Virginia, we heard gunfire 3 nights a week. But in reality, all the people that we've spoken with who've traveled around the world, and we've talked to Scott and Stephanie who just came back from several months in Mexico, as long as you're not stumbling around drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning on your own, you're probably okay. I've been around the world. Angela's done a fair bit of traveling as well. And in all the places I've been, 40-something countries on 6 continents, the only place I've felt so nervous that I turned around and left was East Hastings. So I'm pretty confident that we'll be okay. We will avoid a few places. We're talking about avoiding Venezuela, for example, because Venezuela is still pretty unstable. But otherwise, we figure as long as we keep our heads on our shoulders, keep our eyes open, and keep our ears to the news, we should be okay. So that, I think, answers most of the most common questions. But who's got a question that they want to ask? I've been telling people to hold their questions till now. Okay, what do we got? Where do we get the t-shirts? You know, you're not the first person to ask, and if I were better organized, I would have t-shirts to sell. We do have stickers, and if there's enough interest for t-shirts, there is a mechanism I can look into. If anyone is interested in a t-shirt, send me a note, and we can work something out for sure. Because anything we can do to promote the project, anything we can do to help you promote the project is fantastic. All right, next question. Rick, where do you get a sticker? Well, I'll tell you what, I got one right here for you. It turns out it's the last one in my pocket. It's for your guitar case, but I do have more in my bag. So we were selling the stickers as part of the entrance as a fundraiser. So if you want a sticker, come and see me afterwards or see Angela, and we'll make sure you get a sticker. And if you want to put one on your car, I might be able to dig out a really big one. Okay, any other questions? Anyone want to know anything else about what we're doing?
Will we see you in...
Well, off the showroom floor, the bike weighs 335 pounds. I'm afraid to find out what the bike weighs. When we leave here, Scott, we're going to head down and go on the truck weigh scales.
You're going to do a lot sooner than we did. We didn't do it until like Oregon on the way home.
Yeah, we weighed our luggage last night. For those of you who didn't hear, I started packing at about 7 o'clock last night. And my bags weigh 57 pounds, the 2 side panniers. And Angela, you're in it, what, about 45? Yep. 45 pounds just for the 2 side bags. Plus the crash bars, plus the top box, plus. But yeah, the bikes are 335, which makes them nice and light and a lot easier to pick up. Did you have a question?
Yeah, will we ever see you in 10 years here?
Will you ever see us in the next 10 years? Our plan is to come home every year or two. We'll have to renew driver's licenses and passports and get our teeth cleaned and remind the kids that we still love them. But on that note, this is a good point. As you follow our adventures, if you see that we're going to be somewhere that interests you, that you might like to visit, if you give us enough of a heads up, we're not in a rush. And we're happy to stop and park ourselves somewhere for a few weeks. If you want to come down and hang out with us and go for a vacation, and we're encouraging the kids to do that because that's maybe easier than us trying to go home. But either way, yes, we expect to come home a few times over the next 10 years, and we'll give you enough of a heads up when we go to do that.
Okay, another question.
Joan. We are fortunate visa-wise that at least for Central and South America, you can get the visas. For Canadian citizens, you can roll up the border and get them. With the possible exception, I think, of Brazil, we might have to get those 48 hours in advance. But yeah, Central and South America is fairly easy. Traveling the world is fairly easy with a Canadian passport, but Central and South America is particularly easy. So we won't have to worry about arranging visas ahead of time. Yeah, when we get over to Africa, we'll have to be a little bit more deliberate in our planning. But for the most part, we can get the visa at the embassy in the country before we get there, right? So, and Morocco, we can get the visa as Canadians entering the country, so that'll ease our first step in. Hey, you. How many pairs of underwear have I packed? Man alive. So I packed the bag last night, and I realized that I had too much clothing. And so I started taking clothing out, I'm no longer carrying this beautiful fleece that I bought that fit really nice, and I waterproofed and the whole bit. But to answer your question, I have 4 pair total. 1 to wash, 1 to wear, 1 spare, and 1 just in case. So, and that's a lot more, I think, than some people travel with. But I figured I'd start with 4, and we'll see how many last. All right. I got another one here. Shelley. Medical coverage. So that was a little bit more difficult than we expected because we've heard from a lot of people about medical coverage that's available. We did find a company that would give us medical coverage for long term, so we can buy a policy a year at a time and renew it for a year at a time. And it covers us for emergency medical, it covers us for medical evacuation and repatriation. It'll cover us in the events of terrorism, natural disaster, political unrest, stem to stern. And I think it's running us about $3.50 a day, something like that. So that's not too bad for the peace of mind. So. What about insurance for the bikes? That's what the bike walk is for. Yeah, you're not going to get insurance for the bikes. Liability insurance is what's going to be required in most countries, and so we'll get third-party liability as we travel. But in terms of theft, collision, comprehensive, forget it. If you can find it, it'll be ridiculously expensive. And yeah, so we're just going to ask you all to pray that no one steals our bikes.
So my insurance is about this big. It's about the size of a football. It's wrapped up really tight and it's stuck down the side of my panty, and it's called a motorcycle cover. That's make it invisible. That's the easiest thing that you can do when you travel. It's just right now they look all fancy and whatever, but once we throw that black or gray cover over top, it's like nothing to see here.
It's amazing. This is what we've been told time and time again. You throw a bike cover on, it's like an invisibility cloak. So that's that, and thankfully, from all the stories we've heard, we'll be able to pull our bikes into hotel rooms and hotel lobbies and locked compounds. And so I think we probably have to be fairly careless, or very unlucky, if you will, to have any problems with the bikes that way. So I'm sure I owe a thanks to a whole bunch of people here. I do want to acknowledge Anton. Thank you for loaning me those tools I needed, because I didn't have the right size sockets to take my front suspension off to fix that. And back to Scott and Steph, thanks for coming over there last week and helping to set up the suspension, to put the right preload on. It's rock hard now when I don't have the luggage on it, but so far so good. Great.
How do we donate when you're gone?
How do you donate when we're gone? Okay, so if you go to our website, or if you try to go to our website right now, you're going to have a problem because some malware has infected the code for our website. We're trying to get that fixed. But once it's fixed, if you go to the website, you'll see a tab across the top that says, I want to help. And if you go in where it says Canadian donors, you'll get 2 options. Option 1, there'll be an email address there. It's my kosaverdi@hotmail.com email address. You can use that email address to send a one-time e-transfer. Well, you can send multiple e-transfers, but you have to do it purposely each time. The other option is if you want to set up a recurring donation, so you want to send us $2 a month, or $20 a month, or $300 a month, whatever you like, send me a note, email. Gotta ask, right? Send me an email, send me a note. I will give you a bank account number, and you can use that bank account number to set up as a payee in your online banking. And those 2 options,
will not cost you anything unless your bank charges you for e-transfers. So that way you won't lose any money to fees or whatnot. Alternately, if you go to the US and rest of the world place, there's an option to donate through PayPal there, which also works, but PayPal takes their pound of flesh, so it erodes your donation a little bit. All right, Kadisha. No, we're not going to go to the Caribbean, not for lack of desire, but from a practical perspective, taking the bikes and island hopping through the Caribbean will get very, very expensive. So we've elected to skip the Caribbean, and perhaps down the road at some point in time we may change our minds. But we're going to take advantage of the relatively cheap traveling in Central and South America and Africa, which is why we're going to skip Western Europe, by the way, in the short term, because Western Europe is going to be 2-3 times the cost of what it will be in Central, South America, Africa. So maybe we can build up a bit of a nest egg to be able to afford to do some of those more expensive ventures. So, not for lack of desire. Frankly, I have so many friends from the Caribbean that I definitely want to get out there and see all those different islands, but not in the short term. So how are we getting the bikes from South America to Africa? So what we will do right now, the working plan is we will put them in a container and we will ship them from, we're thinking right now, Suriname to Spain. And that's going to be the simple way. If we can connect with a few other people, we can share the container and so reduce the cost. Flying it is an option as well, but right now we're thinking if we ship them, then we'll have a week, 2 weeks, we can fly home, recharge, see the kids, say hi to you guys. But yeah, by ship most likely. What country am I most looking forward to visiting in Central and South America? If you ask me, and since you've asked me, the next country. By that I mean, I love going to see new things, new places. Angela knows me when we play board games. I always like to learn a new game rather than play the same game every time. Al and Maria are board game friends of ours, and Josh is here too, so they know what I'm talking about. So yes, I'm looking forward to seeing all the countries, but once I'm in Costa Rica, I'm going to be looking forward to getting back to Panama. Once I'm in Panama, I'm going to be looking forward to get to Colombia. But that doesn't mean I won't enjoy each place as I go. Angela, you want to answer that for yourself?
Oh, thank you. Okay. So as far as countries go, as we travel, as we try to kind of project where we might be and what season we might be there, the two that I'm looking forward to and just hanging out for a little while. First of all, Mexico offers a really long stay. You can stay up to 6 months in Mexico with your visa. So it's going to be really nice to get that kind of slow entry, get our rhythm going. But looking forward to Costa Rica sounds nice. I've had a lot of people go there and talk about their vacations there. So it might be a nice place to hang out for a while as opposed to maybe a night or 2 or 3 nights, maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The other place I'm looking forward to is Colombia. Colombia used to have a really bad reputation. I shouldn't say that. Pardon me if anybody here is from Colombia. But the word on the street was it was dangerous. It's completely turned around. People say wonderful things about Colombia, and that'll be our first country in South America. I have been to Venezuela. I don't want to go again. At this point, sorry, Michael, you might miss Venezuela. I love Venezuela's beautiful, but it's just like chaotic in there. Like if we go in there with these bikes, we might come out. The bikes might not. Who knows, right? So Colombia's a place I think I'd like to hang in for a while. So in the next 2 years, for me, it's probably Costa Rica and Colombia.
I can't neglect to thank my neighbor Justin here. Justin's here with his wife Jenny and Zoe. Justin's the guy who helped us out with 3D printing several things on our bike for our mounts. So this morning he ran over with the last project. We were working on that over the last couple of weeks, and thank you very much, Justin, for your help in getting that taken care of. So any outdoor adventures or treks that we want to do? I wouldn't mind doing the Inca Trail. That I think would be really neat. I know Angela's been interested in doing the Camino de Santiago, but being that that's in Europe, that'll be something that'll be way, way down in the future. Other than that, nothing big. Kilimanjaro would be nice. Kilimanjaro, I don't know if Angela's up to hiking a mountain. Maybe we'll do that. It'd be easier than Everest anyway.